You're listening to the Uplevel Your Online Business Show, where wealth is empowering, purpose is crucial, and high vibes are non-negotiable. And now, here's your host, certified business coach and practical woo strategist, Sara J Loureiro.
All right, welcome back to another episode of the Uplevel Your Online Business Show with me, Sara. And I wanted to record a nice, short and sweet episode all about virality specifically on Instagram, and why it's actually not a good idea. The reason why I wanted to record this episode is because one of the most common things that my clients come to me with is my engagement is dead on Instagram, or if I could just have 20,000 followers like you do, Sara, or, how do I just get more and more people to look at my stuff? And I think that we're constantly thinking about quantity over quality. And I'm going to share with you a few examples from past clients and even people that I know who have done things on social media and on Instagram that they have later regretted. Sometimes they don't even want to go viral. I had a client who was like, I wasn't trying to go viral, and Instagram made me viral, and then it messed up my account. So this hopefully will shed light on a lot of different things about social media, in specific about Instagram, that you probably want to avoid. I'll also kind of talk about a little bit of the myths that Instagram gurus teach that are actually not true. And it's really interesting because, to me, I feel like anyone can become an Instagram guru these days, the same way that anyone can become a coach. But I've also made over $2 million online. So I feel like I have a really, really good edge and position on what to say about this, especially considering that I've been in the online coaching space for over 8 years. So I've seen it all. And I think that I can offer a really unique perspective for you that is actually really going to help you in terms of what metrics you actually do want to look at, especially if you are doing high ticket services. So let's dive in. What we should focus on instead of going viral on social media. So as I said before, I've had a few clients who've gone viral. I actually had a client who came to me because she went viral. And essentially what happened was she was doing business coaching. She was doing so much of that. And then all of a sudden one day she got into this accident. She had this back injury and she posted about it like once or twice. And then all of a sudden her account just started booming with people who wanted to know more about her back injury. And her account grew to like tens of thousands of followers. And then all of a sudden, all she felt like she needed to do was just continue to post about her back injury because of the fact that all of those people, that's what they were there for. But she didn't actually want to do that. She didn't actually want to post about that. She wanted to post about her business. But then as her account grew, it just became about something that was completely irrelevant. And I think that that happens so often when we really want to grow and we really want to get likes and we really want to get followers. We're not actually thinking about what the quality of those people is. And if we're not careful, we're actually after the wrong metric. We're going after the wrong metric and we're going after the wrong intention, because the intention really does need to be, if you have a business, to make more money, right? That is literally the definition of like what makes a successful business, is when you make good money and you profit good money as well. But if we're after likes and followers, that's actually not the same metric as someone who's going to pay you. And in another occasion with another client, she went viral off of a video that she posted, and it was very on brand for her. The problem though is that it went viral in a country where the GDP of that country was so low that none of those people would be able to afford her services. I've also had clients who are like, oh, my reels are picking up, and they get so excited because their reels are picking up. And then they see that their reels are picking up in countries like India, countries in, sub-Saharan Africa. And the problem is that when your stuff goes viral in countries where people have really, really low GDPs, of course, there are always going to be people in every single country who can afford your services, because there are millionaires and multimillionaires and even people who make tens of thousands of dollars every single month in no matter what country you are in the world. But the problem becomes that when you have a lot of people from countries that aren't necessarily the ones that you want to target, what ends up happening is then Instagram starts to pull your content more towards those countries, and all of a sudden you no longer have an account with an ideal following. And so with these types of things, we need to be really careful about what we're posting and about what the purpose of that type of those posts and those reels really is. And so when you are thinking of going viral, of course, it would be amazing to go viral with a whole bunch of people who are high ticket investors. But the reality of high ticket coaching and high ticket service-based businesses is that they're really only 10%, if that, of the population. And I'm even talking about 10% of populations with high GDP. So I'm talking about 10% of, countries that are really wealthy. You're looking at only 10% or less of the people of those types of countries who are even self-aware enough to be able to access coaching and have the means to be able to invest in high ticket. And so when we're considering that, what we want to start asking ourselves and really thinking about is, okay, if something goes viral, then that means that it's part of the general population. That means that it's something that a lot of the general population can relate to, which is not necessarily bad. But if the intention is always to go viral, then the intention is always to share what it is that you're doing and grow through a general population. That works really well for an influencer, or that really works really well for someone who's selling something that's really low cost. But if you're selling coaching services that are thousands of dollars, targeting the general population is not going to be really helpful for you. So instead, what I always talk to my clients about is when you're trying to make something get more reach, just think about your ideal client. You can generalize slightly more than what you would do for an ideal client, so you touch a little bit more emotion and feeling. And actually, that's what one of my clients did. And she went from 600 followers to over 10,000 followers during the time that we worked together. And although she did get some people who were not ideal clients, she started to get a lot of people who were. And then what we were able to do from that is we were able to filter through the non-ideal people. But you have to be really careful with what your intention is when you go viral. And so the second thing is, once you're creating a lot of reach in your account, and once you are getting a lot more people exposed to your account, so you're growing your following. And so let's say, for example, you're growing at a steady pace. I have a client right now who's doing astrology readings, and she's growing. She's actually getting a really great reach. We made sure that we took a look at her followers and see who the new people who were following her actually were. So to see if, okay, are they people from the countries that she actually wanted to be targeting? If she has conversations with these people, do these people feel like they have a general sense of self-awareness, or do they feel like they have a certain quality in terms of the language that they use to speak to her? These are really great indicators of whether or not you're talking to high quality people who will actually convert into clients versus if you're just talking to a general population of people who are not problem aware or who are not self-aware in general, and probably will not even understand what your coaching services entail. And so then what I recommend is, once you figure out that yes, your account is growing steadily, and yes, your account is growing steadily with the right people, then what you want to do is you want to create the same type of content that you have been creating for those people over and over and over again. But you also want to match that content with conversion focused content. So viral content is not the same as conversion focused content. Viral content that you use on social media, especially on Instagram, is to appease a large audience because you want to get a bigger reach, which is totally fine. Just make sure that for yourself that you're not doing anything within those reels that is going to target too much of a generalized reach. Because then, like I said, then we're going to have the problem of you having followers that you don't necessarily want to have, which is going to really mess up with the people who are viewing your stories and the people who are your posts are actually going to go out towards. And so once we have a little bit more of those followers, we want to see how many of those followers are actually potential clients. And so we want to switch up the reels and the more generalized content with very industry specific content and things that are very specific for your ideal client. So what I mean by this is, let's say, for example, if you're a relationship coach, you can have one reel that's all about like breakups and bouncing back and like being in your great feminine. And you can have something like that have a much larger reach. But then you can also have a carousel that comes out right after that that's about, how to protect your wounded feminine, or exactly why your therapist hasn't been helping you with healing your relationship with yourself, let's say, for example. And so having very niche, more specific type content that your ideal client is actually going to be like, okay, yes, I need to respond to this, or I need to book a call from this. Because niche and specific content tend to not have as big of a reach. And that's just because it's so specific, right? Instagram is not going to be like, okay, well, how many people actually want to know about their wounded feminine? And have that in the context of, their therapy, because how many people actually go to therapy, right? Versus if you have a reel that's all about like you dancing in the rain and it looks really, really good, and you're talking about healing yourself from a breakup and it's very emotional, that can appeal to a lot more people. And so that's what I wish so many more people focused on instead of going viral. I also wish that people focus so much more on conversions versus engagement. That's another really, really big hot topic on the internet right now is engagement. So how many likes do you have? How many saves do you have? How many people do you have sharing your content? How many followers do you have? And to be completely honest with you, once I let go of all of those metrics was when I really started to completely blow up my business. That's how I made $2 million. It wasn't by getting a whole bunch of likes and making sure that everyone liked me and making sure that all of my content was like reaching more and more and more people. What I was focused on, how do I need to serve my ideal client? What does my ideal client need to hear from me? And how can I find those people online? I don't want to wait for Instagram or Facebook to find those people for me. I want to go out there and I want to find those people myself, because it's so much more targeted, because I know exactly who I'm looking for. I know who they're following. I know what they're interested in. And I would rather do that than post a whole bunch of content hoping that Instagram knows who's going to find me. And so that's one of the biggest things that is a really shift, like a big shift in mentality that can help you really soar in your service-based high ticket business. And if you want more information about this, and if you want more of my 6 steps to signing on 2 to 5 high paying clients a month, or making all the way up to $50,000 to $60,000 a month, feel free to DM me. My Instagram is at Sara without an H, J Loureiro, Loureiro, and I will send you some PDFs with the exact processes that I use that will help you to blow your mind with this and just really help you to see what the gaps are that you are potentially missing out on when it comes to signing on clients. And I hope that you have gotten a really different perspective on virality from this, and you give yourself a pat on the back and you give yourself a little bit more grace to understand that even if you don't have a lot of engagement, even if your content's not going viral, that's not the end of the world. In fact, sometimes that literally means nothing. And sometimes it's actually not even a good thing if you go viral. So hope this helped you. Let me know what you think. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll catch you next time.
Thanks for listening to the Uplevel Your Online Business Show. If you enjoy our show and would like the show notes and free goodies about how to grow your online coaching business, head over to sarajloureiro.com for more information. We hope you'll tune in next time.